Since the overall market is taking a step back from all-time highs, we'll be going over quite a few charts that are red, but not all are necessarily dead. For example, UPS was thrown down like a poor package handled without care. Mostly because attention focused on domestic revenue declining, while net income dropped year over year due to restructuring costs. This damage took away from other parts of the delivery, which saw international growth offering some support, along with a beat in first quarter revenue and earnings estimates, with UPS reporting $21.2 billion in revenue and $1.07 EPS, prompting UPS to reaffirm full-year guidance. So yes, decreasing deliveries in the land of the stars and stripes can put pressure on returning back under 100. Though if price can hold at or above the previous reverse head and shoulders range, concerns could be patched up enough to reinstill confidence for another go at triple-digit prices. On the other hand, even if weaker selling can't peel price off the early uptrend line, continuing to rise on this incline would encounter resistance nearing 110 and the gap fill, likely requiring at least 1 or 2 days of volume close to 10 million to decisively surpass. Speaking of red in packages, Coke seems to be coming back in style, partly because it's seen as more of a conservative option, with relatively lower volatility and a fairly stable dividend when markets lean more uncertain. It also delivered a refreshing report where first quarter expectations were beat, with $12.5 billion in revenue and 86 cents EPS, driven by higher prices and steady volume growth. Strong margins and 10% organic revenue growth supported results too. Further fizz came from it raising its full-year earnings outlook, signaling confidence in continued growth despite currency and portfolio headwinds. And let's say for some far-out, unforeseen reason, this was faulty packaging and Coke just fizzles out of retesting highs in the 80s, the recent concentration around the double bottom and gap fill area provide stiff support to falling price into the middle of the year. Now to something that's only starting to solidify, with SEALSQ announcing a new patent to protect post-quantum cryptographic algorithms from side-channel attacks, strengthening its 126 patent portfolio as Google targets a 2029 migration to post-quantum security. The development aligns with its QS7001 hardware rollout, positioning SEALSQ to support secure, large-scale adoption of quantum-resistant technologies. The increasing clarity helps halt the established downtrend that got rolling from high spending and vague timelines. As shown by the recent downturn, bearish sentiment is still distinctly present but weak, with a relatively small drop and low volume. That being said, SEALSQ needs to stay on course with its commercialization towards the second half of the year to keep pressure off the $2 boundary and start surpassing this year's stable downtrend line for entry into the $3 range within the next 3 to 7 weeks to build on the foundation of bullish momentum from mid-April. As for Faraday Future, it fares another day, really trying to pull out all the stops to get back over $1 to regain listing compliance by September without a reverse stock split. Now it's leaning into education, having launched its EAI Brain and Open Developer Platform, opening global recruitment to build an embodied AI ecosystem and positioning 2026 as the start of EAI robotics education. The platform offers developer tools, infrastructure, and incentives for participants from students to engineers. Alongside robot showcases, FF is expanding into education through partnerships, labs, and programs like a robotics summer camp, aiming to make robot development more accessible and accelerate real-world AI adoption. So far, the real-world impact on the chart has been muted, unable to take off past the recent rally. Now, with volatility, volume, and the current drop leveling off substantially, Faraday fanatics fixate on whether this uptrend can be held for another thrust to the 50s in May. As discussed before, any break of this trend line can seriously delay efforts to get back to $1 by September, even if price trades more neutral to slightly bullish rather than falling further under the 20s. Facing the music is something stocks need to do too, like Spotify, which fell sharply from weak Q2 guidance that included slower subscriber growth and lower operating income forecasts. Spotify is investing heavily in AI, advertising automation, and new content areas, but rising costs and a lag between engagement and monetization are pressuring margins and near-term outlook. On the bright side, like UPS, it did beat Q1 2026 expectations on revenue, along with profit and user growth, driven by higher engagement from its enhanced free tier, adding some energy to a bullish beat if price can hold over 400 and the gap fill range in the next few weeks, which would be helped if current strong daily selling volume isn't sustained over 2.5 million. Such a bearish break could lighten the bearish tone, enough to try for a chord progression to fill up to 500, heading towards the summer music festival season. Going to a high note with Unitedhealth now. It's been improving its ailing health with Q1 2026 revenue rising to $111.7 billion, higher earnings, and expanding operating margins. It's also streamlining prior authorization, with over half of requests moving to standardized digital processes, improving efficiency and access to care. In essence, a new lease on life also stems from ongoing investments in AI, cost management, and administrative simplification that increase productivity, supporting profitability, and position the business for continued growth. Beyond simplify processes, reducing delays, and improving patient access, the electronic prior authorization initiative aligns with broader industry efforts. It complements ongoing modernization steps like transparency reporting, provider support, and programs designed to streamline care delivery and lower administrative burdens. Given this hypermorphine-like elation, its understandable price has kept drifting up after some red gap-ups, so it might not be too far off to touch the 380s with relatively low volume. That being said, if the steep advance can't continue for 400 with volume closer to 10 million in the next 4 weeks, a much-needed correction would be in order. Leaning onto a shallower incline, and even dipping below the 350s, wouldn't be too unhealthy for the overstretched state of these bullish fibers. Though just like a patient not sticking to their treatment to a T, there's a big difference between what should happen and what could happen. For example, the market could just settle down into a neutral and eventually bullish tone if more long-term investors end up flocking to this growing turnaround story into the second half of the year. Over to Akanda, it's really up in the air, with extreme volatility powered by retail trading and short squeeze speculation. While some investors highlight growth potential in its telecom expansion and cannabis business, skepticism persists over risks tied to potential dilution and reverse stock splits, the latest of which took place earlier in the month. So if that supposed squeeze doesn't start driving beyond 30 soon, a drop settling down to this range wouldn't be too harsh. In contrast, Bloom Energy's booming business is energizing a solid entry into the 200s. If it can stay out of the lower 200s over the next 2 weeks then, why not see a near immediate extension up to the 280s before the second half of the year? After all, the long and short-term fundamentals are flowing up like the technical tear. Q1 2026 saw Bloom swing to a $70.7 million profit from a prior year loss while significantly beating earnings and revenue expectations. Revenues surged over 130% year over year to $751.1 million, with improved margins and operating income. It also generated positive cash flow and raised full-year guidance, reflecting accelerating growth, stronger execution, and increasing demand for its energy solutions. Essentially echoing the sentiment that it's an immediate answer to the high-energy diet data centers' demand. At least before small modular nuclear reactors become a thing to pick up the slack. Even then, they offer stable, reliable backup or supplementary power without the environmental stigma. So its stable rise could still continue on a shallower angle too if the current glow dims behind a nuclear reactor or two. In a way, the coffee colossus is trying to do a skyward stretch too. Since Starbucks reported quarterly results with revenue rising about 9% to $9.5 billion and earnings beating expectations, marking its first profit growth in over 2 years. Same-store sales climbed globally and in the U.S., driven by higher customer traffic and spending. Improved operations and its turnaround strategy boosted margins and performance, prompting it to raise full-year guidance, signaling continued momentum and recovery. So let's see if a caffeinated crowd of bulls barges in to boost price over 100 and the lingering influence of earlier declines in the year, you know? Because that failure to get pep in its step in January started a coffee crash with lasting effects that could be reinvigorated if price is still slipping into the mid-90s by mid-May.